Chapter 66. Butler Zai sent a letter to Zhao, and Zhenren Huang issued an ultimatum recommending his death. It is said that Simon King was drinking with Uncle Wu, Earl Ying and others, so he asked Han Daoguo, "When will our guests get up after winning the bid for the ship?" "Let's pack up," Han Daoguo said. "Someone came to meet yesterday, but the ship will only sail on the 24th. Simon King said, after 20 recitations. "It's time to pack up," the Earl asked. "Now that we are about to get up, which two are going?" Simon King said, "All three of us are going. Next year, we will first send Brother Chue to escort a ship of goods from Hangzhou. He and the Bilo will go to 5 places under Songjing to buy him here to sell some fabrics. I still have satin, silk, and cotton at home." The Count said, "Brother's idea is excellent. As the saying goes, if you want everything, that's the business." After saying that, it was already time to wake up. Uncle Wu stood up and said, "Brother-in-law has been working hard for days. I've had enough wine, please go back and you can have a rest." Simon King refused and kept him. He made Xiao Yu serve wine and sing songs, and each of them ate for 3 minutes before being let out. Simon King rewarded the 4 of Xiao Yu with 6 coins, but he dared not accept it again and again, saying, "Master Song issued a ticket for Xiao Yu to come. How can I dare to receive such a heavy reward from my father as an official?" Simon King said, "Although the official is here, this is my reward for you. What are you afraid of?" The 4 of them kowtowed and led the way. Simon King went back to rest. The next day I got up early and went to the Yamen. Dao Guanwu had already sent an apprentice and to layman to lay the modelo in the hull, which was neatly laid out. When Simon King came home and saw him, he sent his disciples to prepare fast food and eat it back. Immediately, when Shu Kai was ordered to write a message and invite relatives of Qiao Dahu, Uncle Wu, second Uncle Wu, Uncle Hua, Uncle Shen, second Uncle Meng, Count Ying, Zi Zaida, Chang Zhiji, Wu Shunchen and many others to come to the hall tomorrow, chanting sutras. The kitchen servants at home are done, and there is no question of organizing fasting and offering sacrifices. At 5 o'clock the next day, all the Taoists came, entered the sutra altar, lit candles, and burned incense, played music, chanted various sutras, ranged the front door, hung long flags, and hung the inscriptions. The immortal consciousness of compassion from the East Pole takes advantage of the morning and ascends to the Purple Palace. The pure soul of Nandan, who forgives sins, is refined and goes to Zhuling. In the sutra altar in the hall, there are 2 cross inscriptions hanging on the altar, with a big book. Qing Xuan saves the suffering, issues talismans to inform slips, turns the sutras in 5 or 7, and recommends the altar for training through water and fire. On that day, Huang Zhenren was dressed in bright red, sitting in a palanquin, wearing a gold belt, and was surrounded by people on the left and right. Wu Daoguan led the crowd to the altar, and after the ceremony was completed, Simon King, wearing plain clothes and a scarf, paid his respects and handed over tea. Next to the cave table, a sutra banquet table was set up, with a large red-pinned gold table surround, decorated chairs and mattresses, and 2 boys waiting on the left and right. When delivering documents, Simon King prepared a piece of gold satin. When he ascended the altar, he changed into a 9-young thunder scarf, a red golden cloud and a white crane cloak. First, he expresses his intention to complete the fast, and the Zai officer washes his hands with incense. Then Huang Zhenren burned incense to clean the altar, flew a talisman to summon the generals, and sent out a written talisman to answer the orders. He started to play for 3 days and announced the alliance to the 10 places. After 3 gifts, the music moved the people and transformed wealth into fragrance. Simon King and Chen Jingji followed, holding stoves in hand, lining up the troops to march, carrying 4 golden umbrellas and 3 pairs of tassels in front and behind after returning from the incense burner, and was invited to the prison and fasted. Then he played music and went to Li Ping'er's soul to summon his soul. At noon, the high-ranking officials, wearing their crowns and robes, fought with each other on their steps, paid homage to Zhu Bao, and sent their divine generals to fly down to Luofeng. It turns out that Huang Zhenren is about 30 years old. He is very handsome, He puts on his makeup and worships his watch at noon. He looks like a living god. But see, the star crown is covered with jade leaves, and the crane's cloak is covered with golden clouds. The spirit is as clear as the bright moon of the Yangtze River, and the appearance as ancient as the pine trees of Taihua. Stepping on the red shoes, you enter the Dang Shao, and your steps are full of auspiciousness. With a long beard and wide cheeks, he has cultivated to the point of no leakage. He has white teeth and bright eyes, and he wears the bamboo record and holds the Order of Five Thunders. During the third watch, the sound of the moon Luan is far away, and the crane carrying clouds thousands of miles away is high on its back. It was the Duxian Taishi who came to the mortal world, and Guanghui Zhenren descended below. After paying homage, Taoist official Wu presented the heavenly treasure, bamboo record, to the god Tiger Jade at the altar. After walking, the noon incense is poured out, and the meal is set up in the rolling tent. In front of Zhenren Huang, the big table is sure to win. Wu Daoguan and others are slightly different. The rest of the people are all seated at the same table. Huang Zhenren and Wu Tuoguan are all lined with satin ruler heads, for pairs of draped flowers, for pieces of silk, and each of the scattered people is clothed with one piece. The tabletops were all carried to the temple, and each of the scattered people had their disciples put them into the box. No need to go into details. After lunch, they all went to the garden to play and eat. At the same time, he put away the fire at home, put out the vegetarian food again, and invited Uncle Wu and other relatives and friends to come and eat. While he was eating, he suddenly reported, "Master Zai in Tokyo sent someone to write a letter." Simon King immediately went out to the hall and invited people in. I saw that it was the official responsible for the mission in front of the house, wearing narrow trousers and green clothes, a 10,000 character headscarf, dry yellow boots, and a full bow and arrow, saluting forward. Simon King returned the favor. The man took out a book from his side and handed it over. It was another letter worth 10 taels of silver, asking the person's surname. The person said, "My surname is Wang Mingyu. I was sent by Master Meng Zai to deliver this book. I didn't know that there was a funeral for my father here. I didn't know until the letter came from Father N." Simon King asked, "When did your father's letter arrive?" The man said, "I didn't arrive in Beijing until October, because the year of urging the emperors would has been completed. I was promoted to Doctor of the Water Division of the capital. Now I have been ordered to repair the river until return to Beijing after work is completed." Simon King asked once, and immediately ordered him to come to the security room to take care of the meal, and ordered him to come back tomorrow to collect the book. The man asked, "Where does Father Han live?" "Here is the message from the house. When I see you, I have to rush to Dongbing Mansion to send a message." Simon King immediately summoned Han Daoguo to meet the man. After having a fast meal with him, he went home together. Simon King was interested in reading the book, so he took the book to the scroll shed and taught Wen Shukai how to read it. Said, "You prepare a letter to answer him according to this, and send 10 square gauze sweat towels, 10 square silk sweat towels, 10 pairs of gold picking teeth, and 10 black gold wine cups as a gift in return. He will tomorrow just come and get the book." When Shukai took the book and looked at it, the book said, "Saijin, who lives in Kyoto, bowed his head." When the book was presented, he was promoted to the Sequin family at the west gate of Dajin Hall. After saying goodbye in the capital, we couldn't calmly talk to each other, and I felt very sorry. His intention to learn from his teachings has already been expressed in front of his master. Recently, when Infengtion's letter arrived, I found out that my old relatives were in despair. It's okay to mourn with courtesy. He has a formal appearance, shows little enthusiasm, and wants to be accepted. For a long time, I have admired you for your appointment and your virtues. I have the Song of 5 dignities among the people, and you have the reputation of 3 residences in the territory. This year's performance appraisal will definitely lead to Jin's promotion. Yesterday, I had all my luck. During the 2 work sessions, I already told the master that I would give my in-laws names after the work is completed. There will be grace, and the in-laws will be happy to be punished. Mr. Shia's year-end collection will be transferred to the Imperial Hall for the rank of commander. I would like to make this prediction and keep it secret. Attached. This book can be read by oneself, but cannot be read by others. Be careful. Be careful. It is also said, Mr. Young died in prison on the 29th of the previous month. When Xiu Kaiwen finished looking at it in winter, Earl Ying had already taken it to him, looked at it once, and gave it to Xiu Kaiwen to keep. He said, "Old sir, please be careful in your reply. There are many talented people in Zigong's house, so don't teach him jokes." When Xiu Kai said, "If the mink is not enough, the dog's tail will continue. How can a student be a bandit and have a big axe in the class? It's just to get rid of the blame," Simon King said. "Mr. Wen, he has an idea of his own. What does a dog like you know?" After a while, after lunch, Simon King ordered Lai Xing'er to distribute the food to relatives and neighbors in the street. He also sent Dian back to the 6 families of Li Guiji, Wu Yin'er, Zheng Aiyuer, Han Chunayer, Hong Sire, and Shi Xiang'er to pay homage to the guests. Each family answered with a big piece of cloth and 1 tael of silver. Later in the afternoon, 3 young boys, Li Ming, Wu Hui and Zheng Feng, were called to wait on him. After a long time, the Taoists ascended the altar and beat each other, went up to worship, repented, watched the lanterns, and then removed the altar to send off the saints. It's getting late. When the wedding ceremony is held, there will be more weather. Uncle Hua outside the door was left behind by Simon King, so Kiao Dahu, Uncle Shen, and Uncle Meng said goodbye and went home. Only Uncle Wu, second uncle, Count Ying, Zi Zaida, Wen Xiu Kai, Chang Zhiji and other assistants were here, watching the water and fire training in the evening. In the hall tent, a high seat was built, a colorful bridge was built, a pool, a fire marsh, and dendrobium food were placed. There are also several banquet curtains at Li Ping'er's memorial tablet, all of which are neatly presented. Next to it are a soul banner, a red banner, and a yellow banner, with the words recommended for controlling demons and being refined by Nangong. First there was music from the Taoists. People were seated on both sides, holding swords and bowls, for Taoist boys stood on both sides. Huang Zhenren wears a gold devil conquering crown and crimson silk clouds. He ascends a high seat and murmurs something. Chuanji says, "The merciful Lord Tai came down and came, and the secluded pass at night was opened one after another. The boys both stepped forward to guide them, and the dead souls were trained on the cloud steps." After proclaiming the verse, he fumigated and burned incense, and read, "I will use the Chuanwang to explain the teachings, and open up the path to the underworld. I will teach you to refine my form and be promoted. I am grateful for the tranquility and refreshment, and I will be starved for it. I wish you good luck." Really incense? I sincerely ask Tai, the most merciful and merciful person in the East, to save the suffering gods, and all the saints in the 10 directions, to save suffering, and come to the Dharma assembly with the help of this true fragrance. People are living in the mortal world, and they are obsessed with worldly affairs every day. They don't know that there is death, but desire and greed arise. Rarely can they be sown with good roots, but they often end up in the bad realms, where they are unconscious, insatiable, greedy and angry. They say that they will live forever, but do you believe that impermanence is easy to come? Once it is gone, everything will be in vain. The karma is entangled, and it is dark. See suffered. Today, I am enshrined in the Tao to be the soul of the deceased family member Li. Once I abandon my earthly destiny, I will be trapped in the night for a long time. If you don't make mistakes, you will inevitably suffer retribution. Gongwei Tianzun has the benevolence of good life and saves the suffering of Shensheng. Sprinkle nectar and nourish all species. Shine auspicious light all over the dim streets. The 3 officials were ordered to take strict examinations and comparisons, and the 10 palaces and pavilions were ordered to promote research, release the prisoner, forgive the wrong and resolve the injustice. Everyone followed the talisman and came out of Yuguan. Xiang Ling climbed to the marsh of the fire pond and washed away the yellow flowers. Everyone who is reborn will return to the shore of the road. I burn the spirit treasure to refine the true talisman, and I would like to declare, Tai Wai Wangguing, Wang Ming Lingingben, summoning the changing mansion, opening the door to receive the soul. The Taoists first placed the soul banner in the pool and burned it. The spiritual talisman is replaced with a red streamer. The next burning you ritual talisman in the fire swamp is replaced with a yellow streamer. Gao Gong recites, "The sky creates water, the earth creates fire, and the water and fire are refined together to form the true form. After the refining, please ask the god to take the crown." Walking on the Golden Bridge, I went to see the Jade Majesty, took refuge in the 3 jewels, went to the Jade Palace, and made the 5 offerings. After the ceremony, Gao Gong said, "Since you have accepted the 3 refuges, you should proclaim the 9 precepts." At the end of the 9 precepts, the Taoists performed music and recited the talisman in 10 categories of lonely souls. After completing the training, Huang Zhenren got down from the high seat. Music from the Taoists was sent to the door, and the money was burned in the box and warehouse. When I came back, my fasting was complete. All the Taoists changed their uniforms and arranged the roll-up Taoist statues. In the morning of Ximen's Qing dynasty, all the candles were lit in the hall, and the banquet was arranged. The 3 young actors were playing and singing, and all the relatives and friends were in front of the hall. Ximen Qingshan held the cup with Zhenren Huang, holding a piece of Tianqing Yun gold satin, a piece of colored satin, and 12 taels of silver on the left and right. He Kotodan said, "The deceased room was rescued today by my teacher's sutra skills, and he was able to be reborn. The feeling is not shallow, and the small courtesy shows the deepest feelings." Huang Zhenren said, "The small way is full of misconceptions and false teachings. So, what virtue can reach people and heaven? It all depends on your sincerity, and my wife has already been in the imperial court. If you accept this gift, it is really a shame." Ximen King said, "This gift is very thin, and it is disrespectful to the real person. I will beg and accept it with a smile." Huang Zhenren ordered the child to accept it. Ximen King handed the wine to the real person and held the cup with Wu Daoguan. They found a piece of gold satin, 5 taels of silver, and 12 taels of scriptures. Wu Taoist official only accepted the scriptures and refused to accept the others. He said, "The little Taoist has always been deeply loved. He devoted himself to reciting the scriptures and pursued his wife to be reborn in the immortal world to fulfill his heart. It is not possible to accept the scriptures. How can I dare to be so prosperous? What a gift!" Ximen King said, "Master sent me a message. A real person is in charge of the altar, and all the simple rituals are all the master's trouble. This gift should be paid to the master. Why not?" Wu Daoguan had no choice but to accept it and thanked him again and again. Ximen King and the Taoists had finished serving wine, and then Uncle Wu, Earl Ying and others came up to share the wine with Ximen King. Uncle Wu held the cup, the Earl held the pot, Zishi held the dish, and they all knelt down. The Earl said, "My sister-in-law did this good thing today. Fortunately, she invited the real person here, and it was Master Wu who took the trouble. My sister-in-law benefited from it, although this depends on the real person's recommendation. It is actually my brother's piety and my sister-in-law's good fortune." So he poured a full cup and gave it to Ximen King. Ximen King said, "You guys have been working hard for many days, and I can't thank you enough." After saying that, "Drink it all in one gulp." The Earl poured another cup and said, "Brother, have a double cup, not a single cup." Zishi hurriedly handed over a chopstick of vegetables to eat. Ximen King returned the favor and sat down at the table. Xiao Yu started to play and sing, and the cook went to the kitchen. That night, we sat in front of the banquet and played guessing games, tasting bamboo and playing silk. We ate until the second watch, when Ximen King was already half drunk, and everyone left after saying their goodbyes. Ximen King came in, rewarded Xiao Yuer with 3 pieces of silver, and then went back. It's just that, if there is one in life, you must be drunk. Never does a drop reach Juquan.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.